Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, as you know that we are discussing about the lesson, the portrait of a lady. So in previous lectures, we talked about two phases. Two phases, relation between the author and his grandmother. तो हम जानते हैं कि पहले दो फेज में हमने आर्थर की रिलेशन जो थी उसकी ग्रैंड मदर के साथ, यानी पहला फेज जो था दैट वाज विलेज, व्हेन दे वर विलेज. सो इन विलेज ग्रैंड मदर took a great care for the author and she accompanied him to the school. She bathed him and she also accompanied him to the school. And not only this, but she lived there while author was studying, and then she came back with him. And she also tried to teach him these prior songs. And then the second phase was city school, or we can say English school. So here the grandmother, she didn't accompany to the author. First of all, did not accompany to the author. This was the first thing. And the second thing is that she cannot help him in studies. This is the second thing. ग्रैंडमदर जो थी यहाँ विलेज में, वो उसके साथ जाया करती थी, उसको नहलाती भी थी और उसको कपड़े भी पहनाती थी. लेकिन यहाँ पर जो है वो when Arthur got admission in English school, so what happened to him? First of all, she didn't accompany him. Why? Because Arthur went to school by bus. And the second thing is, she cannot help him in studies because Arthur, he was learning their arithmetic, he was learning their science, he was learning their other books in medium English. So what happened? She did not help him in studies. And then, now, to some extent, she was detached with the author. And not only this, the author says that now, and then the third phase is, and in third phase, the author learning music. So what happened to her? When the author learning music, according to the grandmother, this music, it does not suit to the gentle people. So these are the phases which we read. Now the last phase is that the author says when he went to abroad for his higher studies. What happened? Author says that when I decided to go abroad for studies, it is the last phase. Author decided to go abroad. Abroad means in a foreign country for studies. So the author says that I was sure that grandmother would get upset. तो उसको ये यकीन था कि अब वो मायूस हो जाएगी, अब उसको ज्यादा महसूस हो जाएगा. She felt it so much because of she was completely now isolated, or we can say separated from the author. But he says that she didn't get upset. वो upset भी नहीं हुई, and also she didn't show any sentiments, any kind of emotions. न वो sentimental होगी, न वो upset हो गई. But what happened to him? But when she came to leave at the railway station, she didn't talk. When she saw off the author, यानी जब उसने author को अलविदा किया, तो she didn't talk, यानी उसने कोई बात नहीं की. लेकिन एक चीज, but her lips moved. Why her lips moved? Because at that time she was also telling her prayers. Prayers on beads. Of her rosary. तो मतलब क्या है कि आथर कह रहा है कि जब मैं बाहर दूसरे मुल्क में चला गया, तो क्या हुआ कि मेरी जो ग्रैंड मदर थी, मैंने सोचा, मुझे यकीन था कि वो आप मायूस हो जाएगी, क्योंकि मैं उससे आप जुदा हो रहा था. लेकिन वो मायूस हुई, न उसने कुछ ऐसे जज्बात दिखाए मायूसी के या उस सेपरेशन के. लेकिन वो उस वक्त भी उसके जो लिप्स थे वो सिर्फ यानी इबादत कर रही थी, वो सिर्फ अपनी वो तस्बीह जो थी वो चला रही थी. तो आथर कह रहा है कि her fingers were busy telling her beads for her rosary. Silently she kissed his forehead. तो उसने क्या किया कि उसने सिर्फ उसका forehead kiss किया, and when I left, I cherished the most imprints as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. So this was the third phase. This was the last phase of the separation to the author. And then author says, after this, what happened? That after 5 years, how many years? 5 years, the author came back. And what happened when he was received? When he was received, so grandmother, the author said that grandmother seemed, and she was looked same old as she was before. And what happened after this? The author says that at that time she didn't look a day older. She still had no time for words. And at that time she was busy again in her prayers. And then he says, while she clasped me in her arms, means she embraced me. उसने मुझे अपने आगोश में लिया. And what happened after this? Her happiest moments were with her sparrows, when whom she fed longer and with frivolous rebukes. तो क्या है कि उसका जो अच्छा यानी जो उसका बेस्ट हॉबी था वो ये था कि वो परिंदों को खिलाती थी और उनको जोर 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 से उनको भगाती भी थी, उनको यानी आवाजें भी दे रही थी. नाउ द author says that in the evening a change came over her. She did not pray. So he says she did not pray. A change came. What kind of change came? She didn't pray. Why she didn't pray? Because now she arranged a music, songs in in honor of the author's reception. तो उसने क्या किया कि author के reception के लिए उसने arrange किया song. So what happened? And she banged a depleted. The author said for several hours she thumped the sagging skin of the depleted drum. Sagging skin of the depleted drum कहते हैं वो डोल जो जिसका जो वो चमड़ी थी वो बिल्कुल डिस्ट्रॉय हो गई थी और वो ही बजाती थी, यानी उसी पर वो बजाती थी. और कुछ घंटे she sang at whom coming of warriors we had to persuade her stopped away. आखिर कह रहा है कि वो अब उन यानी वो अपनी गाने जो गाती थी किन के बारे में गाती थी कि जो वॉरियर्स होते हैं, जंगजू होते हैं, उनके बारे में वो कह रही थी. और हमने उसको काफी मोटिवेट किया कि लेट इट बी स्टॉप्ड. सो दिस वाज द फर्स्ट टाइम सिंस आई हैड नोन हर दैट शी डिड नॉट प्रे. और ये पहला मौका था. आथर कह रहा है कि my grandmother was always busy in praying, but at this time she didn't pray. Why? She received her grandson with honor and with singing, and she sang the songs, and she also thumped the door, and this was the first time when she didn't pray. And now the last thing the author said that was about her death. In grandmother's death when she died. The author says the next morning she was taken ill. It was a mild fever. What happened to her? She got fever. And they called doctor, and doctor told him it is a normal thing, and but the grandmother thought differently, and she thought that it was end of her life. And what happened after this? She said that since only a few hours before the close of that lost chapter, means lost this part of her life, she had omitted to pray. यानी उसने उस वक्त भी यानी ये उसकी जबान पर सिर्फ इबादत ही वो सिर्फ इबादत ही कर रही थी. एंड व्हाट शी वाज नॉट गोइंग टू वेस्ट एनी टाइम, वो कोई वक्त जाया नहीं करनी चाहती थी. सो शी सेज we protested, she ignored our protest, she lay peacefully. We protested her, stop praying, don't pray. But she what happened to her? She ignored it, and she lay peacefully and telling her beads. But after some time was automatically, naturally, the rosary fell down and she got died. So what happened after this? The author says, we lifted her off the bed, and as in customers, laid her in a ground and then covered her. That means they made the whole process of her funeral. And what she said that the birds whom she were feeding, they were also sat silently around her. And after that, when her body was carried for cremated, what happened? The birds, the mother, or the author says, my mother, she made pieces of these pieces of this these loaves, and what happened when she threw to the birds, but they didn't notice to these pieces, and they also ran away, flew away from that place. And when we carried my grandmother's crops, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the bread crumbles into the dustbin. That was the end of this lesson. So what you see that in village how mother was how grandmother cured, and in when Arthur got admission in city school, what happened, and when he got in admission in university, what kind of treatment meted to him with his grandmother, and when he was abroad, how he was saw off from here from the railway station, and how he was received honored when he came back after 5 years, and then how mother died, and what kind of a pious lady was this author's grandmother. Thanks.